prepared this time, y'all. I wasn't playing no games, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's been a long week.
right. It's been a crazy week. How's your week going?
It's been good, actually. So I have my nieces down from Philly,
Nice.
because y'all know I'm in the DMV. If y'all don't know, now you know. And it's a lot having kids. Oh, my God. So they are 9 and 8. And it's just a lot. You always got to feed them. And,
That's the hardest. That's the hardest part right there, trying to feed them. Let me tell you something. That is the absolute hardest part. Like I'm good with my kids. I stay home with them all day, but they need to eat.
Yo, all the time. I'm hungry. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. So yeah, so it's been like something trying to juggle work and then, time for stuff like this and other things I've got going on. And then of course, spending time with them and making sure they're having fun and they're having good time with auntie and all that good stuff. So it's just been a lot, you know what I mean? But I appreciate mothers and fathers just like y'all all the time because I get a little piece. I have them for a week, just a little piece. And I'm just like, a lot of work, guys. A lot of work.
You said they get a little piece. You get a little piece.
I get a little piece, just of y'all life, just for like a week.
Oh my goodness! Oh, you get a taste.
A little.
I thought you meant PEACE. I'm about to say peace.
I know.
Nah.
I was saying PIECE. You know what I mean? Like just
said no justice, no peace.
No.
Got kids, no peace. Nope.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. No peace. No peace at all. It's no joke. So thank y'all so much for joining us. I appreciate y'all. We was a little late, but you know how Black people can be sometimes. We here now though, you know?
Yeah, we had to get some things together. What's going on, good brother Az, my man Ashley, Danielle,
definitely.
Bryson, the Wolf.
Yes, and Billionaire Boy. I see.
Everybody logging on. Today's the cigar of today is the Blackbird Jackdaw.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So let's get into it.
Yes, and I got my Pinot Pop in here, so we good.
All right. Yeah.
So let's get into it. So what I posted y'all on our page on IG, I was saying about Miss Vivica A. Fox. She had made a comment saying that, if she's open to get married again, that's all good. But she's good with having my own crib. She said, I want to have my own crib and he have his own crib and we do it together. So I want to really hear from what y'all think. Y'all with that? If you're in a marriage and you're like, okay, you got your own crib, I got mine. I see you when I see you. She was like, I see you on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and then we spend the weekend together. Or y'all not having that. That's what I wanted to know. So please chime in on anything y'all have comments on or any questions you have with that. But what you thinking, Drew?
I mean, I can't say I'm necessarily no. I won't say that I'm against it, but I also won't say that I'm for it.
Okay.
I think that space is a wonderful thing.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Space is an absolutely wonderful thing, especially when you're married. That's 24/7, and
that's
you want
to.
You want to grow together, you want to live together, you want to enjoy life and tackle life and whatever comes your way. But it can get difficult sometimes simply from what's up, Dion? Simply from just being in somebody's face all day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's true.
And so I disagree that separate houses are a thing, but a lot of the old heads, they grew up with separate rooms. You know what I mean?
Separate beds.
Separate beds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? A lot of things that we think are different was the norm for them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, there might be some. I think she's going to the extreme when she talks about separate homes, but it may be what works for her being a celebrity.
Right. I would say, honestly, in my opinion, I think it's all about what works for you. Like, I ever can't say, oh, Drew, you tripping if you thinking that you shouldn't have your own room or your own house, like, you know, from Chevis. Like, hey, I say whatever works for you. Like, for me, I would like to have my own space, but I ain't gotta have my own crib. Like, I
Yeah.
might as well stay single if that's the case. That's
Yeah.
how I feel. And, you know, this is coming from somebody that was married for 12 years. And, you know, I really feel like having your own space and creating that is important because, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're an individual at the end of the day. And you need that individual space because at the end of the day, just like you say, you with the person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, morning, noon, and night. You ain't going nowhere. So you need that on your own individuality. And I think it kind of keeps it like spicy a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh, I see you doing your thing, getting involved in whatever you do. And that's what made me attracted to you in the first place. So I think it's important to have that own space, but I don't think I necessarily have to have my own crib. Like, no, I'm not for that.
So if you think you need your own space and you don't have it and you don't have the budget for your own extra house, like what do you do?
I mean, I kind of created. Like, I know when I was living in my spot, and I actually had like my own beauty room. I guess you can call it like a girl's cave, but it was like my own beauty room, and I used to love going in there. You know, I enjoy, like, I just let y'all know I used to do makeup, so professionally. So I enjoyed doing that and getting prissy and, you know what I'm saying, just doing me. And in that space, I had that. And this was an extra room that we weren't really using. And it wasn't really his or mine. It was just like a room, our extra room. And I was like, all right, you know, I'm going to hook this up and have this be my space. And he was like, you know what? He was actually pretty impressed. Like, that's what's up. Like, to see me, like, in my own element, it made him, I think, attracted more to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it made him attracted, you know, me. I can't talk, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean, so you've always had that space throughout your relationship?
No. Okay. So when it came to my relationship, I will say that as you get older and mature, you realize that you need your own space. Because I know that as a woman, and I wouldn't even just say a woman, because I think people do this, period. But sometimes women we're thinking like, oh, I got to be around you all the time in order for me to be like, you know, we're together, because I'm with my baby all the time. And sometimes I noticed that, like, he got sick of me, you know what I mean? Because I wanted to be under him all the time. And as we got older, I started realizing, like, oh, that is kind of whack. Like, let him miss you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm talking about for me personally. So I just was like, I think it's important to have your space. You know what I mean? So as I got older and we started to develop our relationship and marriage more, I started to create that because I also wanted it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think that, you know, like when we first started talking, we were 19 and 20. And, you know, I wanted to be around her all day, every day. You know what I mean? And we made it happen. Like, it made her parents sick. You know what I mean? Like, and it was fast too. Like, I just wanted to be around her. She just wanted to be around me. If we're sitting on the couch, we gotta be up under each other. But, you know, at this point, even now, like I'm the type person. I like, you know, physical touch. I like to invade your personal space. I like to touch you, be next to you, and you know, she'll let me know, like, yo, just, like, I need space. I need some room. And sometimes, like, I'll be sitting on the couch. It's a whole couch. It's a couch for like 3-4 people. I'm sitting on one end of it, and she'll come and sit between me and the armrest, and there is no space between me and the armrest. I'm like, look, you see me here comfortable, I'm chilling, like, all right, okay. So I guess in order to get you comfortable, I have to switch it up. But I mean, you know, I think the beauty of marriage is that we get to be together, but you also, you know, need space in that. But when you need that, it's there. You know
right,
what I mean?
Exactly. Definitely. Yeah. It's so funny. When Erica Lee, she said, my husband has been in the bathroom for an hour. I'm pretty sure this is how he carves out his space.
Listen,
whatever you got to do.
Yeah, okay. I used to study in the bathroom. I used to study in the bathroom for hours because I know that's where nobody's going to bother me.
Right.
I know nobody's going to walk in on me, not going to ask me for nothing. I go in there with my books, and I'm in there for hours just studying. and the kids left me alone. The wife would leave me alone, and that's how I always was. Even before I got married and moved in with my wife, that was always the place that I knew
that was kind of your safe space away from everybody.
From childhood. Like I would read in the bathroom. Nobody would bother me. It's the only place I could read. Because if a kid is just chilling in their room or just sitting around, you know, that means they're being lazy. They gotta do something. You gotta give them a chore. If they're just laying around somewhere, if they look too comfortable, if kids are too comfortable, then you gotta give them something to do. You know what I mean?
Give them something to do.
Yeah, you gotta give them something to do. So for me, you know what I mean, the bathroom was my safe space. That's where I studied, and as an adult, like it also became, you know, that place where I could, you know, just chill, relax, and study. Now I have, you know, even in you know, I'm sitting out here at my little G spot, but I built this during the pandemic because we needed extra space. Like I needed somewhere else to go, or for her to go. You know what I mean? Originally, I was like, all right, I'm gonna build a deck. You can sit out there and work, and be away from us, not feel like everybody's under you. I'll keep the kids inside. But it eventually turned into my spot. And so she sits on the front porch and works all day. I sit on the back. You know what I mean? And I do what I have to do.
And just like you said, it's vitally important, especially during the pandemic, because let's even go into that if you want to. Like, tell me how the pandemic actually changed or rearranged your relationship. Like, I'll tell you, like, one of the episodes that's coming up, like, I revealed that I got my divorce right before the pandemic. So I truly was blessed to not have to worry about somebody that I wasn't enjoying in my life. You know what I'm saying? And that was literally driving me crazy in my space. You know what I'm saying? Like that I had no choice to deal with, you know? Yeah. So I know that probably had a lot to do with a lot of breakups and future or present divorces. But mine wasn't because of pandemic, thank God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how was your experience? You know, happy or unhappy or whatever the case may be, or somewhere in between when it came to the pandemic?
I mean, it was. I would say that the pandemic was just a lot of stress. It wasn't just the stress of. It was first of all, you had the stress of a global pandemic.
Right. Of course. Yes.
And I think that people really underestimate the how difficult that was to navigate. Generally for individuals, but also, you know, when you have a family, you have children, you have parents who are at a certain age, you know, that you have to worry about. Those are things that are also stressors to each of you, right?
Right.
And so dealing with, you know, all these different factors on top of the fact that now the kids can't go to school, so they're running around all day. I have 3 boys. They're very active. You know what I mean? They're fighting. They're wrestling. Now we got to get them in school. We got to figure out what's going on with school. You have to worry about their grades, whether they're actually learning as much as they should. And there's nothing you can really do about that.
Right.
So with all that as the basis of the pyramid, you know, you put the relationship on top, and then it's like now you're getting on my nerves because I'm already upset.
Right. Anyway.
You know what I mean?
Because of that's happening that I can't control.
That I can't control.
Right.
And now you know, we can't go to the supermarket, we can't get food.
Right.
Every little thing, you know, is amplified.
Yeah.
And so during the pandemic, it was the same thing. I'm sure for many relationships, even good relationships, you dealt with stress that you hadn't experienced prior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ever. You know what I mean? And luckily for us, you know, like I do weddings, and one of my prerequisites when I do weddings is that you have to go and do individual counseling, right? And you know, we do our own individual counseling. I mean, we both do counseling, and then we both we were engaged in couples counseling. So I think we got tools ahead of time that I feel like, you know, were scaffolding for this pandemic. You know what I mean? So we basically had something to build off and some tools to use that helped us through it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the pandemic, like, you got to deal with yourself. You know what I mean?
Yes, that part.
Yeah,
I'm glad
that's
you
probably the hardest part.
definitely because like yeah, like I think for me when it came to the pandemic, it was a definitely point of healing. You know what I'm saying? And kind of just finding my own space within myself. And
Yeah.
then I'm also always been an advocate for being in therapy. So I was able
Hmm.
to do like a lot of virtual sessions. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was like so helpful because it was just me and myself and I, right?
Yeah.
And then,
Yep.
but I also had connections with my family, and they
Yeah.
weren't far located far from me. So I think
Yep.
it was all of that helped. You know what I'm saying? All of that just was a helpful tool for me, and I think that actually helped me heal a little bit faster than the average person, because a lot of times you kind of distract yourself with going out on dates and like meeting new people and just distracting yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I
Hmm.
couldn't. You know what I mean? So when you're kind of just faced with you yourself and you just have to deal with whatever issues that are going on internally. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was actually thankful for knowing that I could always, seek help from my therapist and understand about healing and self love, and having those tools are just so important. Like so
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was also difficult for a lot of people. Like, so you couldn't see you couldn't go
Yeah,
to church,
absolutely.
couldn't see your
Yeah,
church
absolutely.
friends, your
Definitely.
church family, that community. Um, and it was probably difficult for a lot of people. Shout out to I just want to shout out Cheltenham, drinking from my Cheltenham Class of '99 cup. Just want to throw
Oh,
that
are
out
you?
there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They are. So I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's joining. Hey, Chavez, what's going on? Justin, how you doing? Community Voice, what's good? Erica, thanks for commenting. I appreciate it. Yeah, so tell us about your experiences. Like, what did y'all go through when it came to the pandemic, and how you feeling about everything now, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to relationships?
Yeah. And to the topic of what was the topic?
We're talking about like living
Living
in separate.
separately,
Yes, exactly. So how y'all feeling
separate
about living
spaces
separately?
while you're
Separate spaces.
married.
Yes, exactly. Hey, Chavez. So
Yeah.
yeah, but just to kind of also recap on our episode. So episode 2 was regarding we can't be friends. That was the topic, right?
Yeah.
And when it came to we can't be friends, it's saying like after a relationship, after y'all break it off and say I'm gonna go my separate ways, can y'all still be friends? Is that possible? Is that something that can be done? And my opinion was that it can, like absolutely, depending on the either severity of how y'all broke up, or how you know the I should say the length of time y'all were together. So if y'all were together for a very long time, then I would say yes, you definitely can find some type of you know relationship agreement where it's like, okay, we still have kids, we got this mortgage, we got whatever is still tying us together, or we just had a foundation of a friendship, period. So we kind of just
Hmm.
want to make sure we kind of go back to that. Our families are tied together, our friends are tied together, and maybe that's the reason why that we're still in need of this friendship. And I care about you,
Yeah.
but I know sometimes that that might not work for everybody.
Yeah.
And let's get into it.
Yeah. I mean, like one of the things we talked about on the episode was that love has to be a factor in terms of remaining friends.
Hmm.
Like if there's still love there, then you'll still be friends. I think if there's no love there, then there won't be friendship.
Right.
You know what I
Now,
mean?
do you think that because you guys were together, it had to be some foundation of love, even if you found yourself not being able to, stay together? Like it just didn't work for whatever rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
And it could be
But I
several reasons
mean,
why.
yeah, but you can I mean, I think but you can fall out of love too.
That's true.
So, I mean, you fall in love and you fall out of love.
But can you really, like, people say fall out of love, right? So I want to basically make the difference between in love and loving someone.
Okay, so tell me the difference.
So to me, The difference is, if I'm like in such infatuation with you, I yearn for you, I want to see you all the time, I want to be around you all the time, and I just cannot get enough of you, that's when I am so in love with you. It's just like, you're my heart, you're my everything, right? Then there's love, where as though I care about you so much. I want to make sure that something doesn't happen to you. I feel that way for my friends. I feel that way for certain colleagues that we built that relationship. I have friends that I feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to make sure they're good. Even if we're still not friends to this day. I have friends that I'm not friends with to this day. But if something happened to them, I hope they know they can call me. You know what I'm saying? I care for them. I love them. So those are my two different, in love and loving someone. What do you think?
So, I mean, no, I agree with you. And I think that if you love someone, then you can, let me see, Erica said it makes sense if you're living separately, if it fits a purpose. Work related with an expectation that is for a time, but to do it as a plan. I'd have to know the reason. All right, that makes sense. Yeah. Because some people have to live separately. For work. Yeah.
You know
what I mean?
Yeah. And I wonder how that works though. Like, that's a lot of responsibility too, right? Like when
it's like a long distance relationship.
Right. Yeah. Right. And you got to make sure that you guys can take that. Because I don't know if I could be in a long distance relationship.
I mean, if your husband had to, or your partner was a contractor, and they got contracted for a position for 6 months or 6 weeks or for a year.
Yes, true.
You know what I mean? Like they're going out, they're making a certain amount of money for a year, but they have to be somewhere, or they're in the army. So like that's a long distance. Yeah.
And if you can't commute, to where they are and like be with them, then but I have to be in a relationship first. I'll say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't just jump into one and be like, oh, okay, he lives in California and I live here, and like now we're like starting a relationship. But if I'm already in it and it's like, okay, you have to, just like you said, you're contracted, and I knew what I was signing up for before I started this relationship. Yeah, we can keep it spicy. You know what I mean? And I can come visit you when I can, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely. But yeah, just like you said, if it's one of those situations where you have to be separate, then that's understandable. But I know when it came to Miss Vivica A. Fox, what she was saying, she was like, no, she'd rather that. Like, she was like, if I ever get married, like, that's what it's going to be. So, that's interesting.
All right. So back to what I was saying about being in love. Let me put this second topic up here.
Okay. Sam just joined too. What's going on, brother? That's the brother of Father Drew.
It's my little brother.
Yeah. Erica is so funny. That's why I didn't even say I could go there. But Erica, she was saying that I don't think I want to marry someone I didn't desire to live with. I feel her on that. Like, definitely. Like, if I don't want to live with you, like, then it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have my own space, but I don't feel like I gotta like not be in the same house as you. Like, that's pushing it.
So which one? Sam I Am 220?
No, that was Erica Lee that said that.
Oh yeah. No, Sam I Am 220 is Sam's wife.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. They're both named Sam.
Oh, really? That is so dope. Like, look at that. I always like things that feel like it was meant to be, but that's the gushy side of me. So I apologize. Okay, so, that's just me.
See that, Sam? Somebody likes it.
I'm guessing
but
please enlighten us all about what that comment was.
No, I'll let them talk about it on their podcast. They have a podcast in the making, and when
nice.
I'll share the info about it when it comes up.
Okay, cool.
But they are officially the Sams.
The Sams, nice. Nice. So go ahead. So what were you about about being in love and difference between being in love and loving someone.
Yeah, so I feel like, you know, if you were in a relationship, it's probably because you were in love. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or because you love someone. You know what I mean? And you know,
So
like I
what's the
said,
difference, though? Tell me the difference.
I mean, I think if I'm in love, like you said, I want to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love people who I don't want to be around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, at all.
Yeah, me too.
But I got love for them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
If, like you said, if it's a problem, they can call me. But
Mm-hmm.
excuse me. But there are people who, you know, I can love someone and not like them.
Yeah, there you go. That
You
part.
know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So so that's why love in and of itself is so strong.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I
Mm-hmm.
can love you and not like you. But when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to a relationship, like I feel like I need to be in love with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In order to want to be with you.
Right.
Like that is what
Requirement. Right.
that is it's what moves me forward
Mm-hmm.
with you. You know what I mean? It's what motivates me. It's what inspires me. It's what puts the gas in my tank to want to do for you. You know what I mean? I think otherwise I'm just going to do me. If I don't love you and I'm with you, I'm just going to do me. I'm only going to think about me. You know what I mean?
Makes
Yeah.
sense. It makes sense. Definitely. Definitely. And to your point, like, that's why I say, like, you can still be friends with someone that you were once in love with, because now you're at the point where it's like, I just have love for you. You follow
Yeah.
me? So it's
Yeah.
like we're out of that space where I don't desire to want to be around you, and you know I don't feel that need to have you in my space all the time. Something happened where that no longer exists. So I had falling out of love, but I still have love for you. So it's like, yeah, we can be friends because either we still have kids together, or again, we're trying to settle this mortgage, or that was what we built our foundation. Like my ex-husband and I, like, we're still cool because we had a foundation that we started off with, that we were friends. And it's funny that you said that it happened immediately. So to let y'all know, we got married in 30 days.
After you met?
Yes.
Wait. Hold on. See me scratching my neck with my eyes closed, looking sideways. Yes. That's my ponder pose. I'm pondering.
That's the Martin Joe where he be like. Yes, we did.
And please, y'all, please chime in. Like we're talking to each other, but we want to talk to y'all as well.
Yes, please.
So if you got a comment or a question, we want to. Yeah, I need to hear it again too. He said, "Say what?" Exactly.
Yeah. So yes. So
you gotta run that back.
Run that back. Like, so yes, me and my ex-husband, we got married 30 days after we met each other. So yes.
Stop. So where did y'all meet? Because that place must have been spectacularly incredible. It's like a unicorn must have ran by, like the clouds must have came down from the sky, and you could just sit on them. There's no furniture, just clouds. It was cloud 9, 10,
I don't know what it was. So we actually met through our mutual friend. Her name was Lee, and I thought they had something going on. Not that she said anything. I just thought, because it's like, oh, okay, y'all friends. Like, y'all friends. I don't know, like, what kind of friends y'all are. And I saw him in November of 2007. And then he, like, remember, not Facebook, but MySpace. So he messaged me on MySpace, and I didn't pay it any mind. So I didn't see him again until January of her birthday was January 26th. So she had like a whole big thing at the G-Spot. It was called the G-Spot at the time.
Not my G-Spot.
No, not your G-Spot. It was another G-Spot in Center City, Philly. And we saw each other at her birthday. Do you remember?
G-Spot on Bank Street?
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It had just
that was my joint. That was my joint right there.
That was the joint. And he was in line. It was freezing, and he kind of let me behind the rope, like to be like with him. And he's like has a pretty tall stature. He's like at his time he was like 6'4", 290. You know what I'm saying? Just like built. And I was just like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Very impressive. And he was just like, you cold? And I was like, yeah. And I didn't know him, but he kind of wrapped his arms around me and like trying to make me warm. And I was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, it was amazing.
Super smooth. I like it already.
So,
I
and
like
then
it already.
they let us into the spot because they were like, it was one of those spots in the beginning. They were like, you, not you. Like one of the places, and they were like, all right, the cute couple in the front. We was like, okay, we ain't a couple, but cool.
Let me tell you
And
how
then,
you get past the you, not you.
okay, please. Enlighten us, please.
So, I can't give all my secrets away. Go ahead. Continue.
Okay. So, so I mean, we danced and we had fun, and then he left. He had paid for like me to get in, my coat check, like my first like 3 drinks. It was just like, oh, this dude, like, you know what I mean? Then he disappeared, went to another spot, and I got wasted at her birthday party. I got wasted. So anyway, at the end, everybody's giving me water, like, India, chill out, you know? So then I go to, she's at so it was a Sofitel was across the street. She had a room there, and I was like, oh, okay, what you don't want to hang out or whatever. And she was doing whatever she was doing. I was like, all right, I'm not going to mess up your thing, whatever your groove is. I came downstairs to the lobby, and he picked me up. Now, just to let y'all know, anyone that doesn't know me, like, he picked me up, like, off the ground.
Oh, he physically picked you up.
Yeah, physically picked me up. And I'm not a very small girl. Like, I am, like, at the time, I probably was, like, 145, 5'10". So it wasn't, to me, I didn't think I was small because I'm really tall. But he was tall. So he picked me up and gave me this crazy kiss. And I was like, oh. We exchanged some numbers, and he's like, I'm serious about you.
He
like,
picked you up off the ground when you were drunk, you said?
Well, I had sobered up by then. They gave me plenty of water. They gave me plenty of water by then. Because I drove home, okay? So,
oh,
so
man,
I drove home by then.
You got to incriminate yourself.
No.
Allegedly, she drove home.
No, I was sober. So everybody has like all of this. I see so many comments as I'm talking. So I was sober. And then he was like, I don't know who you're talking to. I don't care. I'm not going to keep my mouth to what he said. And then he was just like, you know, I really want to talk to you. So I was a little apprehensive. I asked my girlfriend about him. She's like, he's a good guy. And we started talking. And it was like, we just talked every day for like 30 days. Like we went out a couple times, but we just talked about everything we wanted, everything we desired, everything we want to give to the person that we want to be with. And then after 30 days, he asked me to marry him. And I was like, okay, like, let's do it.
Wait, you said you got engaged 30 days after, or you got married 30 days after?
No, like, married. He was like, what would you say if I asked you to marry me? And I was like, I would say yes. And he was like, what would you say if I said, like, next week? And I said, let's do it. And that was his story. So it was a whole more to go into that.
That was heavy Libra energy. What was his sign?
He is a Virgo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
okay. Let me go back to all.
Gotta make sure I watch out for the Virgos.
It's funny because I don't really like Virgos now. It's a whole nother story.
Listen, it ain't make a difference. He had your number.
Yeah, he did. This is so true. He definitely did. So it says, I don't think I want to marry. Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm like, I had to go back to the what's going on, Stony Talks. And then she said he knew what he wanted. That's all. That's true.
He knew what he wanted. Yeah. I mean what I wanted when I met my wife. I mean, immediately, like, we had a talk. I had thrown a party, but I got, and she came with her girlfriends, but I was a little too inebriated that first night. It was at my spot.
Okay.
And there was a whole lot. It was like a New Year's party. It was a whole lot of people. And there was a whole lot going on. So, like, I had to take care of everything. But the next week, my man threw a party. and her girlfriends brought her back, and we talked the whole time.
Yeah.
And I knew it was special because I didn't get high that night. I didn't smoke.
Mm. And so I'm
And
guessing you usually do at those parties?
I mean, at that time, my name was Smoke.
Oh, that's funny.
At that time, my name was Smoke Dog, and I was smoking weed all day long. But as I puff my cigar, but
I know, right.
but I knew that, and like we started talking that night, and I knew that she ain't smoke. So in order for me to smoke, I would have to go to a different place. Like I had to go outside or anything. Like, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I just stayed and talked to her the whole night. And I came after the conversation, at the end of the night, I dropped her home and came back. And I was like, yo, I ain't smoked tonight. And I had plenty of weed on me. Like all I did was smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a
But you had the
relationship.
best time, right?
I had an absolute amazing time. And I came
Oh,
back
awesome.
and I told my friends like, yo, she's it. Like that's the one.
Wow. That's what's
Yeah.
up.
They
Yeah,
thought
that's
I
nice.
was, yeah, it was Smoke Dog. Smoke Dog. It really was. DAWG.
DHLG.
DAWG.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So then I'm looking at some more. It says depends. So talking about what the question is, talking about like, can you remain friends after a relationship? One person said, it says depends on if they respect the relationship you're in, or if not, then no. So they're saying like if they have moved on with somebody
Mm-hmm.
else, and they respect that new relationship you're in, even though they're your ex. And that's true. That's a good point too.
Yeah. Because I'm gonna let you know, like I'm not a respecter of. I wouldn't like, Lord forbid, I don't even talk this way, but if it were me and my wife, like, nah, like I wouldn't respect her new relationship, and hopefully she will. I
He
mean,
said, "I want respect."
I
What do
didn't.
you mean? You would have to though.
I didn't respect the relationship she was in,
Oh, before.
or friendship she had when I met her. So, you know what I mean, and just like your husband, your ex-husband said, I don't know if you're talking to anybody, but I don't really care. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? And you got to be that way if you're gonna get what you want. You know what I mean? But here's
Yeah,
a question.
fair enough. That's fair enough.
So here's a question. So if you weren't in love, if you weren't in love, would you still stay with that person?
No. Well, that's a good question. That's a heavy question. It's a loaded question. The reason why I say
Mm-hmm.
that is because it's sometimes, especially when you're in a relationship, it's so much that's attached to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when like I said, you got the marriage, you got the kids, you got if you have businesses together, if you have, I don't know, mortgage. But you know what I say to that? It depends on if that person is still providing some source of happiness. Now, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying they're supposed to make you happy because only you can do that. But my point is that if that person is no longer kind of
They have to
providing,
be providing something
there you go.
that you
And if they're
need.
not providing the things that I need, even as I am, like, if, your needs change because you evolve as a person, right? As you get older.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're no longer providing that need and they're becoming more of a hindrance for you,
Mm-hmm.
then you got to go.
Yeah.
And if to me, my happiness and my sanity, I'll say that, not just happiness, but my sanity and my peace
It's
is worth more than
more
any
important.
other human being on this earth. You know what I'm saying? More important than anything. So even if we have to sever all of the things that I listed, it is what it is for me.
So what is it that you feel? My bad. Moving this table a little bit. What is it that you feel that you? What are some things that you feel you might need besides um, support financially, uh, physical? I would say, you know what I mean? Like what else?
Uh, I would
Or,
say,
or I can't say besides that, like, because I can't speak for you. So,
right. So I would say like I definitely need core is like the love languages. I'll say those are my core. My core love languages are with it physical touch, it's words of affirmation and time spent.
All right.
So if I'm not getting those three things, like then what do we have here? You know what I'm saying? Like
Cause those go a long way.
it does.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the thing is I will say that I lacked that in my last relationship. Like my last marriage, I lacked all three of them.
But did he try? Because the language is the language, and the language is something
No, he didn't, and that's the thing. And sometimes, like, you know how we'll say, one thing I do want to make it clear on here that a lot of people say, oh, how do you keep relationships together? And it's like communication, communication, communication. But if you're communicating and the person is not hearing you and not listening to the things that you're saying because they're just brushing it off like, oh, that's just you complaining, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I will also say that a language is a language, and a love language is something that isn't learned as easily as a spoken language. And we call it the love language, but I think that's an underestimation of
how important it is.
Of how not just how important it is and what it really is.
Okay.
Like it's how you are. It's how you communicate and how you give and receive love.
Right.
I mean, but we call it the love languages, but it's bigger than that.
Right.
But
I agree.
But it's hard to learn to speak that language, right?
Right. But what I will say is, if I am telling you,
even so, because you're still speaking in a different language.
No, but if I'm speaking in English and I'm telling you physically, not like hinting at it and not showing you, I'm saying I am physically telling you what I want.
What up, Asia? So what was his love language? Different?
It was different. It was different. And this is what he told me, but that's a whole nother thing because he unfortunately was a liar. So he got that going on too. So like,
I mean, people lie to spare your feelings. It's not to save us. It's to spare you. It's different. Two S words, they sound alike, but they're different.
Okay. Whatever you want to tell yourself, okay?
Absolutely. I'm telling myself whatever I want to hear.
You sure did. Whatever. And I'm sure Travis could agree with you on that.
So Shoni said, love is a choice, period. They ask themselves why they choosing not to love. They can't make up through what somebody's parents didn't provide. Some women didn't get affirmation from their dad, and they're putting that weight on the husband when he could be providing it. But it's really a daddy issue.
Well, I mean, I'll clarify. I mean, in my opinion, people have daddy issues. People have mommy issues. People got issues.
People got issues because mommy and daddy, they got issues too.
Yes, and mommy and daddy
have issues.
Okay, and unfortunately, going even back maybe 4 generations, our mommies and daddies were slaves. So it's like we are all going to have some type of program to be messed up. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got to stop looking at, oh, it's the women's fault. And then, oh, yeah, it's the men's fault. Like, we got to all come together and be like, listen, we all have issues and we all need to figure them out. So that's why I'm so happy that you say that when people get married, you recommend that they come to you for counseling because it's so important.
Laugh out loud, spare your feelings. Asia said, if you were friends before, then yes, you can remain friends. Daniel said, issues galore. Look, issues galore. Yeah, everybody got issues. But your love language is based on your upbringing, yes, right? And it's based on your personality as well, right?
Yeah.
And so, and and then if you want to go deeper, you know, you can look at it psychologically and get an even deeper understanding. But the bottom line is that people's love language is different, right? And so if my love language is, like, for instance, my wife likes gifts, but in her house growing up, back to what Shoni was saying, they gave gifts for all the fake holidays, right? Because I think all the holidays are fake. They're just,
wait,
you know,
did you just say all the fake?
all the fake holidays? I think they're all marketing employees, right, to get people.
Even
to
if that
money.
is true, some things are just traditional things that
Even
you had growing up.
It's the traditional marketing ploy that you succumb to because
and you're programmed to be a part of,
to
right?
be a part of. So Valentine's Day, like in her family, like people got gifts, like, huh? Valentine's Day is between you and your partner.
Right.
If you even going to succumb to that,
oh Lord,
that foolishness of a
well,
holiday.
here we go.
Right?
Here we go. You're just the guy that don't want to buy gifts. Just say that, okay?
Listen, but in my house growing up, you didn't get gifts. You got like a card. It might have money in it, but it probably didn't, right? And even for Christmas, you know, you didn't get the gifts that you wanted.
Yeah,
so it wasn't. Oh, did I?
Yeah, you were saying how grandma had like gave you like a t-shirt or some sweaters that.
I mean, yeah, they got me the purple sweater. I rock that, John.
You said you rocked it. You told us you rocked it before.
Yeah. Listen, one Christmas, I told you about the chemistry set.
Yes. No, you didn't tell us about the chemistry set. Please tell us.
Chemistry set. So, like, I'm the type of kid. I'm a little extra. My wife calls me extra. I'll let her get away with that.
I would agree.
Right? I'll let her get away with that. So I would have the most grandiose Christmas lists. I would type it out. I would print it out. And back then, you had the printer paper that had the serrated edges. That with the circle drawings down the side.
You had to rip them off on the side.
Yeah, you had to separate each page and all that. So I would type out my Christmas drawing, my Christmas list. I would put the price, the store it was at. Like I would make a whole thing about, you know, looking in the Sunday paper, getting the circulars from the KB toy store and Toys R Us.
She said, "You are extra." She said. She said.
That was subliminal. There's kids on here, Chavez. You can't be talking about. Oh, who said that? Shoni?
Yes.
I thought you said Chavez said that.
No, I said Shoni said you're so stupid. See, you're being extra even with that comment.
I'm being extra even with that. So listen, so I had a very large Christmas list. And it was very detailed, and I wanted this chemistry set. I probably would be a scientist today if they had got that chemistry set that I wanted, right?
So you're gonna blame your parents on not giving you a chemistry set on the fact that you are not a scientist tonight.
Did I say that they didn't give me a chemistry set? I didn't say that.
What did you say then? Let me clarify, sir. Excuse me.
My pop did give me a chemistry set.
Okay.
It was a used chemistry set from a thrift shop, and the price tag said 25 cents. It was still on there. Like, he didn't even take the time to take the price off that joint.
No parents did. My parents didn't do that either.
They would have if it cost 25 cents, and if it was a used chemistry set. Like, what you gonna do for the used chemistry set? I'm gonna talk about this when I go to counseling next week, because it keeps on coming up. It's not supposed to be coming up no more. I'm supposed to stop talking about this. I done preached about it. Chevy said, let it go, Drew. My brother got me a chemistry set for Christmas like 2 years ago, and I almost hit him with it. He said it was used by George Washington Carver. There's nothing that you can do. There's nothing you can do with a used chemistry set. It's used already. All the chemicals are used. The elements, they're used. All right, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go for now. I'm gonna let it go. But
please let it go.
The point is, in my house growing up, said it's vintage. Yeah, vintage now. There wasn't no vintage back in 1993 when I was asking for it. All right, there's no such thing as vintage. Vintage wasn't
Oh
in.
God. Oh
Um,
God. Everybody laughing on this joint. Daniel talking about some LMBO. Like, yo, you are so stupid. You gotta figure that out. Oh
yeah,
my God. He said, Shoni
except
said he was setting you up for success. It was, it was pre-done.
it wasn't used. It was pre-done. That's funny.
That's good. Oh, that was good. Oh, that's good. Pre-done.
It's
I gotta
pre-done.
use that again. I'm sorry. Woo. Y'all got me cry on this, y'all. Oh my
Listen.
God.
So the point is that we didn't get a
Oh
lot of
man.
big gifts weren't big in my house growing up,
Mm-hmm.
and they never were, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like flowers, like appreciation was what we did. Like we
Okay.
gave speeches at Christmas time, Thanksgiving. Those are really the only holidays that we celebrated. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and my wife is different. Like they got stuff for Halloween. Like they got stuff for everything. You know what I mean? And we didn't do that. Birthdays, we didn't get a whole bunch of stuff. We had friends over, we had parties, but we got gifts from other people. It wasn't from from inside the house. So that wasn't our thing. So for me now, like gift giving is not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that I automatically think to do. I have to
Mm-hmm.
remind myself to buy gifts, right? But that's her love language. It's
Mm-hmm.
not my love language, right? Um, and I won't say that I don't appreciate when she does give me stuff. Um,
Just
trying,
let you know,
trying,
not your good neighbor or not your normal Samaritan. Said, "What's good, good brother?"
yo, son, don't buy anything from Drew.
He
That
has.
gets the mix. Let's have us do it. No, listen, my chemistry. The reason they should have brought me the chemistry set is because I was mixing stuff in the house all day long, and so I just wanted to do it the right way. You know what I
Got
mean?
you. Well, we're going to get off this topic because obviously it's a very sore subject
Yeah.
for you.
Listen, but so the point is that it's not natural to try and think outside of your own natural love language, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
And it's difficult because even if you try and do it, you may not do it right. You
That's
know what I
true.
mean?
It's true. Yeah,
Um,
but I think it still has to be an effort made. Like I'm sure you can attest to that. Like even though, just like you said, it's outside of what you do, but even again, if you got to put, and I said this before, if you got to put post-it notes on your damn mirror, like let me buy such and such a gift for this whack behind man-made uh,
yeah,
Valentine's Day that's coming up, I have to do that because she appreciates it. It's going to go a long way for her. So
yeah,
whatever you have to do, you have to put in that extra work for a
yeah.
relationship. You know what I'm saying?
But you also have to appreciate, even if somebody finds it increasingly difficult to do, you have to appreciate why. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's just not their thing. Like if I need physical touch and my partner doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
then that's going to be problematic. But if she doesn't need that at all, or he doesn't need that at all,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Um, then as their partner, I also have to understand that. You know what
Yeah,
I
no,
mean?
I agree with
Yeah,
that. Like, so you have to take in consideration the good and the bad, right? Just like you
yeah,
say, like the good. When I say good and the bad, but I'll say the things that you understand and the things that you don't.
yeah.
But it has to. I think it also has to like level out, meaning like
And
there also has to be effort into, if it's not one, at least one of them. Like
but
if
see,
you have
that's
three major ones and you don't do anything on any of them, then that's like, bruh. And you
but
are like
that's
not even trying. Like,
but that's the thing because you can see somebody is not trying at all
mm-hmm.
when they are trying big time.
No, but he told,
but
like,
listen,
he
but
can tell
listen,
you that he didn't try.
but listen, but they are trying big time, but they'll do it through their language.
Yeah, I understand
You know
that.
what I mean?
No, I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
And
that.
I think a lot of times, like we have to recognize, like, all right, they are trying. And I'm not talking about your situation. I'm just talking about generally
No,
in
I get
relationships.
what you're saying. Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
like you have to recognize, like, okay, they are trying. They're trying their way.
Right.
And you have to make that effort transfer to you, even though it may not touch the spot that you need to be touched. You have to remember that, okay, because it's a relationship. It's two way. It's not one way. You have to remember that, all right, they are trying to show love, to show extra love, but they're just doing it their way.
Yes.
And
Daniel, just to let you know real quick, Daniel said, yes, sir. But you gotta you gotta get out of your comfort zone to make it happen. And that's my point. I'm just trying to say, like, yes, it's important for you to recognize when a person is giving you their love language, but it's also important as you as a person, because the only person you can control is yourself, right? So
absolutely.
if in a situation, and not mine, just in the situation period, like, one thing I can say is, one, just like you said, recognize when someone's trying, but two, it's important not to get complacent and say, oh, well, his love language is different than mine, so he's going to have to rock with mine. Like, no.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's for you to do extra stuff, so therefore you're making some type of effort.
And we do that, and we do that a lot. Like, I think people do that a lot. And
What's that?
That's the point that I'm making, that, we say, well, he knows what my language is, so he just has to get on board with me.
Right.
And it's like, nah, it's just
control
a
anyone
two-way
else's
thing.
stuff. Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. Right.
And he actually is trying. You just have to recognize that.
Right,
it's like,
absolutely.
Like, all right, well, he put gas in your car, or like he's trying to get close to you, or he's buying you gifts. But if gifts aren't your love language, then you don't even
appreciate it.
Appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Stoney said that's a try-ship. That's true. Like, it's just us.
A what?
Try-ship, like a relationship, but we're both trying to please one another.
I mean, that's what relationships are. Like, you
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to relate.
Yeah. And figure out one another. And that's always changing, because we change, right? We as individuals always change.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the hardest part. And that's part of the conversation we had when we thought about doing the podcast in the beginning, was the fact that we wanted to provide insight from people who've actually been in relationships. You hear a lot of stuff about relationships from people who aren't in relationships,
right?
Or who haven't really had long-term relationships. And those are the gurus,
the Jacksons,
the Kevin Samuels, and the people you see online. They really haven't been in relationships, and they're trying to tell you how to interact, right? The thing that I find most remarkable about being in a relationship is the fact that you're changing too, right?
Right, exactly.
And you're coming to grips with those change, with that change, but your partner has to as well. And that can be extremely difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that's also where that individuality comes back around, where we can kind of circle back to what we were talking about, like having your own space. Because when you create that, you kind of celebrate, or you're kind of allowing that person to celebrate themselves, right? And allow that person to kind of have that space to be able to grow and evolve as a person. And you're able to kind of step back. Because, sometimes when you're in a situation, you can't appreciate it. But when you
Mm-hmm.
step back and have that opportunity to kind of like see it from the outside looking in, you appreciate it more. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's like
So,
to me,
mm-hmm. Go
so
ahead.
I'm saying to me, like, I think when you're able to give your person that space, no matter what you guys feel is comfortable for that, which is like either her woman cave or his man cave or her beauty room or whatever the case may be, or, you know, his bathroom or her, baths that she takes, like whatever the case
Mm-hmm.
may be, like, because you see what grows out of that space. And then you can have admiration for it and
Yeah.
celebrate it. Like, dang, babe, I see you've been working, and like now here's a result. Like that is attractive. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying to the
Yeah.
person because that's how they met you in the first place, right? You know?
If that's how they met you in the first place, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's what makes having children difficult is because they take away that ability for you to get space.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all them.
Yeah.
And that's why like when they leave the house, like you're almost like, all
Who
right,
are
who
you?
is this? Yeah, who is this person? Like who are you? Like you have to get to know each other again, or you can't. Like some people can't
Right.
go through that process of it's just because they've had this buffer the whole time.
Right.
You know what I
Right. Right.
mean?
So
That
then,
has, hmm
go ahead. You go ahead. You were about to say that has.
no, they've had this buffer that that has two things. One thing is that they've buffered the changes that you see in your partner,
Mm-hmm.
and the other thing is that they've buffered the changes that you see in yourself, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so now when they leave the house or when the situation changes, it's like everybody's like this brand new person, and I'm a brand new person, like, and they're like, well, you're different now,
Right.
and yeah, and in reality, like you're different to you. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because
Right.
like you've changed as well, and now it's hard because you're finding yourself in a
Mm-hmm.
new way, and you want your freedom and your space to do that, and you don't feel like sometimes like they can understand that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because like you've changed, and it's at that point that you realize that you changed. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? When everybody leaves the house.
So I have
Like
a
I see a
question.
lot of relationships that go through issues when the kids get more independence and they're not
Mhm.
under you the whole time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So then I think, so then that begs the question, like, what do you do to remedy that, to prevent that from happening, right? So this is what I'm seeing on the outside looking in. Like, I don't have any
hmm
children. Yes, I was in a relationship or marriage for a long time, but I didn't have any children out of that. So I can only go up from the outside looking in.
hmm
And I'll tell you guys, my parents have been together for 32, 33 years, 32 years. And what they've always done is put their relationship first. Now that I'm an adult, I see that. Whereas though they always had like a designated day or time where they would just go and be with themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they would pawn us off on whoever, you know what I mean? And they would have that time to themselves.
Yeah.
And it never took away from my upbringing or my feeling a need to like, oh my God, mommy and daddy didn't take care of us. Like I never had that feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just to me and like built that whole village raising a child. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I have so many great memories with all of my aunts and uncles on both sides. Whereas though I think now looking back, they did that in order for them to continue to keep that connection.
Yeah.
And they still do that to this day. Like my parents are 100% in love with each other. Not just like, oh my God, I'm married to you, but I don't like you. Like, no, they each other's homies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they like
Yeah.
really bang with each other. So, and it's sweet to see, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you
So
agree with that? Like that whole like giving each other, and I'm sorry, go ahead. I know you want to read some of the comments.
yeah. No, I agree that you gotta like you have to actively work. I mean, I think in like you have to actively work on your relationship in terms of
Each other,
just
right?
like in terms of each other. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think if you ever feel like you can coast,
Mm-hmm. And
like you
that's what
can't.
gets, yeah.
Yeah, that's when problems arise. Like you can't coast. Like there's no, like, you can't get comfortable and take your foot off the gas.
That's
I
the
don't think you
point.
can ever.
Yes.
I don't think you can
Never.
ever do that. Like
Hmm.
we sometimes we talk about like happily ever after. Like you have the storybooks. The storybooks end at happily ever after, and so in
Yes.
our minds, like you just coast from that point.
Hmm.
Like it's just supposed to be a certain way,
Hmm.
and the reality is that that's a storybook. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
And there's so much untold in that they live happily ever after. But I just feel like you have to constantly work. It takes work. A lot of people don't want to work in relationships. See,
Yeah.
I'm pronouncing my K's. I'm talking
I see you.
My Will Smith voice again. So you have to work and you have to do the things that are important. Um,
Yo, why do you sound just like him? Like, especially when you did the jaw.
because that's how he talks. Because if you over enunciate, then people understand it better.
And it's more stressed, right?
It's more stress. They get it more.
Your
Um,
point
they get my
is more.
point. That's right. Daniel said to go with your comment. Shoni said Wawa cheese trays and wine. Oh, you watched the podcast? Yeah, pre-done. That's right.
I'm free time.
That's right. Pre-done. Absolutely. You get your
Oh
Wawa
God.
charcuterie board. Well, Daniel said you have to go with your comment. If your love language is physical touch, but your partner hates it, things can get awkward. Absolutely,
Hmm.
because especially if they hate it, it's one thing if that's not their language. They hate it. Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah,
It's an
that's why I think it's
evolution.
so important to like talk about that while you're dating. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like I think
yeah.
it's so important. And it's unfortunate that like we learned so late in the game even what a love
But
language was.
yeah, but they weren't talking about that when we
That's what
got
I'm saying. When yeah,
married.
exactly. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
weren't. That's why I said
That
I
wasn't
wish
a
it
thing.
was around like years and years ago because I think it would have saved so many marriages and so many,
Relationships, yeah.
connections. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
also people could have practiced it. They could have practiced it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah,
It's an
completely.
evolution. My love language 6 years ago is not the same today. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
different. Absolutely.
absolutely.
You really change. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Especially um if if you have traditions, if you take on traditions
Hmm.
that weren't your traditions growing up.
Yeah.
So if you do go all out for Christmas, you know what I mean, and
Hmm.
if your wife gets you a big gift or a bunch of gifts and you enjoy that, you know what I mean, then it's something that you might begin to adopt for yourself if she's always giving you gifts or like things change, like you change as a person.
Right. And
So
I'll even
yeah,
say like sometimes like it's funny because I know I've changed. Like before words of affirmation wasn't a thing for me. But I will say because I lacked that in my previous marriage, then it definitely was like me realizing like, oh my God, I do need that. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of works on both ends. Either if you,
yeah,
are influenced negatively or positively, it really will shape who you are. You know what I'm saying, as a person going forward.
yeah. Chavez said, "Don't get lost in your title as a wife, parent, etc. Keep learning and loving yourself um, to live daily in marriage and have great communication with your partner. Absolutely. Like
Yeah.
you have to keep learning yourself. And I feel like at a certain point, like you have to make yourself the priority,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Heck yeah. Yes.
Um,
I mean, like,
and you're taught to
especially
make your
for,
partner the priority,
yes. And the
right?
thing is, like, especially for women, and the reason why I say that is because we as women have so many responsibilities that society has placed on us. So therefore, we live up to. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
she says show love daily. Yeah,
Okay. Show love daily. And yes,
yeah,
agree. And sometimes we get like so mixed up in trying to satisfy everybody else. And then we become the last on the list. And we
hmm
forget that the order should be turned around. Whereas that we should be first on the list, because if everybody's like, if you know how they say happy wife, happy life, I really believe in that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are taking care of yourself and you like looking good, smelling good, feeling good, whatever that good feeling that you need to create for yourself is, I think it's important to create it. And then all of that happiness gets trickled down to everybody that you touch and love. Everybody.
Yeah. But happy wife, happy life, like I understand that. But that
Just as
doesn't.
a general thing, not saying it definitely applies to every area. So I know you're about to go in because I saw your face.
No, I wasn't gonna go in.
Okay.
I was just gonna, because you said you agree with it.
To an extent of like the fact of us understanding, not for everyone else on the outside to make us happy, that you have to make yourself happy. You know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to make everybody happy first and you driving yourself crazy trying to do so.
Yeah, and Daniel said sometimes you gotta be selfish to be better for everyone else.
Absolutely.
Especially women. And
yes.
and women don't understand that.
Yes, they don't.
I don't think that women understand that.
I don't think so
you
either.
have to be selfish to be better for everyone.
Absolutely.
Else, especially for women.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
that's exactly, thank you, Daniel, for making that.
And Daniel also said, before you congratulate him, he said that is false, and if he ain't happy, the wife being happy is moot. Absolutely. I agree with you, good brother. I agree with you. I'm going to Cash App you after this is over.
Oh my God, really? What Cash App?
Post your Cash App for an offering. For a love offering. I'm gonna walk down to the altar and put $1 on the step.
Anyway, boo to both of y'all, okay? Boo to both of y'all, okay? No, but I was basically saying, like, you have to make yourself happy. And just like you said, when I say happy wife, happy life, I mean, and not saying that you have to, yes, your job to make her happy, but I think that it's her job to make herself happy.
It is, but society says it's our job to make her happy. Why? Because.
But that's what we've been taught, though. And that's why I'm saying, like, I'm putting up my finger, because I'm like, that's unfortunately what we've been taught. And that's not necessarily the truth.
What up, Dr. Matt? My guy, Mo. What up, man?
Yeah.
I need you.
Hey, Mo, what's going on?
I need you to chime in, good brother. I mean, society tells us is that we have to be Prince Charming, right?
Yeah, but then we're also taught. Wait, but we're also taught that we have to be the damsel in distress, and that's some BS too. So it's both sides to that coin.
I mean, it's both sides to that coin, but at the end of the day, it's we're the ones who got to put ourselves on the line for the damsel in distress. And be charming. Like our role is in our name. We have to charm you. We have to save you. We have to be the prince. We have to come and rescue you from the life that you don't want. And we have to make you happy and make you content with your life.
Right. That's what we've been taught. But we also have been taught that.
So what do you do for us?
Oh my God. Here we go. This is what
that's a question. That's not a statement. That's a question. You can't judge me for a question. You judge me for a statement. You can't judge me for a question.
We already did this in the last episode. Okay, so this was a part of our episode 2, because we were talking about chivalry, okay? And we were talking about, when does a woman pay or at least go Dutch in, while dating. And he's like, so when do I get paid back for all the dates that I paid for? It was like, wait, what? Do you remember that comment that you made?
Yeah, I mean, but the rest of it was, before the clip faded out was, at what point do I stop coming out of my pocket exclusively? You know what I mean? Y'all can go check out the podcast episode on No Filters Podcast on YouTube.
Please do. It's on YouTube and Spotify.
And Spotify. Absolutely.
Yes. But your question was, you were like, it wasn't a statement, it was a question. When do?
Yeah. At what point is it like it's up to us to make her happy. So how is it? When does it become her job as well? If it's part of our job to make her happy, how is it her job to make us happy?
Well, first off,
what is it that, or what is it? No, that wasn't the question. Question was, what is it that she does for us?
Well, first off, let's back it up, because your question was originally, or statement was that, you know, it's our job or y'all job to make us happy, which is a crock of bull. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not your job. It's not. It's not.
Say it louder for my neighbors in the back, the ones behind the G-spot sign. Maybe they're the ones I'm talking to. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Because the thing is, it's not your job. Neither is it my job to make you happy. You know what I'm saying? Not like as me and you, but I'm talking about neither is it a wife's job to make the husband happy. No one's job is to make you as an individual happy. That only happiness comes from within. That's first off. It comes from here.
You have to do it for yourself.
Make me happy. Okay? Period.
Absolutely.
That's the first part.
And content.
Yes. Absolutely. Contentment. You're supposed to be adding to what I already provide for myself, no matter if it's a woman or a man. Period.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of to answer your question. So that's why I'm like, society has taught us that, but we are changing the narrative. And it's important that it has to be changed that way. Because if you are trying to seek someone else to try to make you happy, you are going to be miserable as a person.
You're going to be miserable.
Absolutely.
Because that's not how it actually
It doesn't work that way. Mm-mm.
And so in our grandparents' relationship and great grandparents and parents' relationship, did they marry for happiness?
Sorry about that.
Did they marry for happiness? And our grandparents and great grandparents and like hold on, wait, I gotta go back because Daniel said it's her job first, most definitely. It's her job for what?
For what, bruh? You heard me? What for what, bruh?
Now listen, I don't know what he's. It's her job to make herself happy, or it's her job to make me happy enough to propose.
So wait.
That's a question. Again. That's a question. You can't judge me for a question.
Wait, he said it's her job to make me happy enough to propose.
No, I was asking.
He said make herself happy. Y'all gotta catch up. That's what he said.
It's up to her to make herself happy. Absolutely.
Yes. Read it right, okay? Because you're about to get in trouble.
Yeah, I can't get you in trouble, good brother, or myself.
He said, "Hold up, I ain't go there." Like
I gotta be selfish for me. I can't get myself in trouble. I gotta think about me first. He said, "Hold on, I ain't go there." Yeah.
Oh God! Thank you, Daniel.
Back it up.
Absolutely. Yes, he was like, back it up. No. You're about to get this boy another.
Philly One Rider said we're supposed to share in each other's personal happiness. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I have to add to your happiness.
Adding.
But if you're not happy, can I add to your happiness?
No.
What can I do? If you're miserable or you're a miserable person, then there's nothing I can do. If you're unhappy about your life,
you're just going to be there on top of that misery. That's all.
Exactly. You're going to continuously be unhappy about your life. And you'll be unhappy about everything that's included in your life.
There you go. Including him or her.
Including him or her, the kids, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The job, the house, everything.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Philly One said therapy. Exactly. Right. Deal with them childhood traumas. It's so vitally important.
Yeah. Therapy is
so
important. If like I feel like therapy should put things in perspective. Right?
And what you said, I'm glad you said should, and I'll pause you right there, because just because you go doesn't mean you're going to get help. Exactly. Just like if I go to the doctor and I refuse to tell him what is wrong with me, but I want him to fix me, it ain't going to happen, y'all. Okay?
and every doctor ain't built the same.
Do you go? And every
I
doctor ain't for
listen.
you,
I had
right?
I went to a dentist one time. He shot me up, and my heart started beating slower. Like
Hmm.
he's like, "Oh, I must have hit a vein." Like, dog, you are the professional.
Yes,
Don't
I
let me
must have.
don't let me die like you're doing a root
Yeah,
canal.
right.
Like, come on, dog. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. And I eventually had to switch to a different dentist because he wasn't a great dentist. You know what
Right.
I
And
mean?
I actually had a not the same experience, but I had an experience where they had to numb me like 50 different times, it felt like.
Yeah,
Just to, like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And that was just like, oh
yeah,
no, like it's time to go. I've been here literally for an hour in the chair,
yeah.
and obviously you guys ain't doing it right, so I got to go. You know what I'm
So
saying?
so
So, yes,
doctors aren't built the same. Therapists aren't built the same.
right. You got to find what's right.
Psychiatrists, psychologists
Absolutely.
ain't built the same. Some can get to the root of the issue. Some can talk a lot and bill you at the end of the hour. You know what I
Right. And
mean?
you know what I'm gonna compare it to? Like I'm struggling with this. So like I don't have a great barber right now. I
We
even
talked about
desperately
that.
need a barber.
Every barber is not
Okay,
built the
the
same. It don't
same.
matter if you got a pair of
Jacket
clippers. Look, I be cutting my son's hair because I'm cheap.
is
Listen, this is what I need y'all to know about me. I don't care if y'all see the suits. I don't care
oh,
if you see the money I put into the G spot. If I like nice things, at the end of
that's
the
a Libra
day,
thing, y'all. That's a Libra thing.
at
That
the
don't
end of the
mean
day,
yeah.
I am cheap, cheap, cheap. I know I'm cheap. I'm cheap. That's why I do things myself. I have a whole lot of skills because I don't
For
want to
that
pay any,
reason, right?
for that reason, because I don't want to pay anybody else. What's up, Zadira? And so, uh, damn, I forgot my whole point. Going, forgot my
go
whole
on,
point.
go on. We were
Going on my
talking about
tangent.
the fact that I was trying to find a barber. It's hard to find a
Oh,
barber.
so I cut my
So
kid's hair because I'm not trying to take him to a barber. I got paid $30 to get my hair cut.
mhm.
It costs a lot. I got 3 sons. I cut them myself, right?
Right. But you have three sons, so I'll just say that first. Okay.
Yeah,
That's expensive.
and I started cutting my hair when I was like 11, right?
Okay.
So I
Okay.
can do an all right job.
Hmm.
But I know that they can get better. Like sometimes at the end of the joint, like a couple of days later, like they'll see some. My joints are extra sharp, so you be looking at it like, dang, like who cut you? Like you got the whole hairline carved into your head. But look, we ain't built the same. Just because you a barber, just because you a doctor, just because you're a
Right.
professional, doesn't mean you're on the same level. Just because you're a therapist doesn't mean that your therapist is on the same level. If you're
Right. So
not,
just because if you
just
have,
because,
so just to let you guys know, just in case you do go to therapy and you're like, oh my God, this person wasn't right. Don't let therapy or don't get discouraged from therapy
from
in
therapy,
general. You know what I'm
and don't and
saying?
don't and
Off of
don't
one person.
and don't stick with somebody just because you're going to them.
Right. Absolutely. Like it
Like
might
you
not
go
work
to
if you're not.
somebody who can actually help you. If you're not getting help, like the people
Right.
around you will see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If
Yes.
you're more frustrated afterwards, I
Yes.
feel like if you have more questions afterwards and you're more frustrated afterwards, and you've been going for a particular amount of time, then it's time to
And
switch.
you're not really changing, and it's the
Yeah,
same.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. It's time
I
to
would
switch it
definitely
up.
agree. Yeah. And
I
then
switched up on my. Hmm.
Philly R1 said true. So yeah. Thank you
Yeah,
for joining, by the way.
yeah, and Daniel said said his offering was about to get revoked. Yeah, talking about
Because you
talking
was about to
about
get the brother in trouble. That's why
yeah, yeah, yeah,
he was about to get him in trouble. That's why
yeah.
he said that. Like
But look, if it's not helping you, you may think like just talking it out is helping you, but if it's not actually helping you, then it's not helping you.
right, I
You know what I
agree.
mean?
If they're
And
not
you
giving
have
you
to,
tools to actually
yeah.
like assist you along in the process, then
Hmm.
it's time to go. Like it really
Yeah.
is. It's time to
I,
find somebody that will.
I was going to a psychiatrist like almost 20 years ago,
Hmm.
and like I was going. He diagnosed me with ADD,
Hmm.
um, but he fell asleep on me one time, and um, He
That's
told me
crazy.
no, it's not. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, we're human
You
beings.
do?
No, I do. I get it because we're human beings. Like, it might have been after lunch. Like, listen, if I eat, I sleep. You know what I mean? That's me. So if I ever have to do something after lunch,
Afterwards.
it's
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be difficult because when that itis kicks in, yeah, I mean, like it's a life
It's
and
a
death.
problem.
It's
It's
a
a problem.
problem.
Yeah, I
It's a
understand.
huge problem. Like but he told me he was resting his eyes. That was a problem. Like that's like an elementary school excuse for sleeping. You know what I mean? That's why because I used to tell my teachers that when I would get in trouble in the 5th grade. So if you're licensed, if you're
Oh God.
an educated psychiatrist and you tell me you resting your eyes, that takes me nah, dog. We ain't about to do this, dog. Like you
You know what?
asleep,
My
you
grandfather
was
used to tell me that.
you
Listen,
asleep.
when we were,
Like how
remember
you?
the old heads used to be in the recliner chairs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So my grandfather used to be in a recliner chair, and of course he would like bogart the remote. So you he knocked out, and like you change it, he like get up. You be like, "What are you doing, Grandpa?" Like you weren't even worried. I was resting my eyes. It's like Negro.
Oh yeah. You definitely can't change the channel. If Grandpa's in the room, TV must stay
He
on
was
his
asleep,
channel.
bruh.
Yeah,
He's asleep. No,
if he's in the room, channel got to stay on his channel.
my
That's the
lord.
law. That's what he got through his years of life. He earned that. He earned that. He can sleep through whatever TV station he wants to watch. He's resting
Rest
his
in
eyes.
peace. We
Yeah,
turned it back because that's what he wanted to watch.
yeah.
You know,
So
Matlock or whatever the case may be.
exactly. My parents still be watching it. They be cracking up. I go over there, they got Matlock on. I'm like, I don't even know how y'all found this joint. Like,
I know.
first of all, I don't even know nobody who still watches TV. And
Right.
my man told me he was watching a show the other day. I was like, dog, you still watch TV? Like regular TV? And he started laughing like, yeah, I still watch TV. Like, dog.
I'm not gonna
Like
lie. I'll be watching certain shows.
we off that now, man. We only
We
watch
off that. We off that.
we
Okay.
watch shows on apps.
On that.
We don't actually watch TV anymore.
We don't watch commercials. Like, what's that?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. But to go back, if your therapist tells you he's resting his eyes and you hear him snoring, then it's time to get a new therapist. And he was a psychiatrist. And so it was a number of years before I went back to any psychiatrist because I just lost trust in all of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because of that. But yeah, like if your therapist isn't working, if you don't see progression, like I had one dude, he was excellent. Like I'm talking about he was excellent. He got a better job, paid better benefits. I couldn't knock him. I'm like, dog, like you are really helping me. Like I need you, but I get it. You know what I mean?
Right. And you had to understand it, just like you said.
Yeah,
And you
like,
did.
Yeah, he's a person. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why I understood my other one falling asleep. Like, all right, he's a person. Like I understand it. Like, keep it real with me and just tell me, like, my bad, dog. I dozed off. But continue. You know what I mean? Don't tell me you just resting your eyes. Like eyes don't need rest like that, Dave. Like your eyes don't need to go to sleep. You go to sleep when you go to sleep. Your eyes don't need to go to sleep different from the time that you go to sleep. You know what I mean? And if they do, it's because you went to sleep, nigga. Oh, I'm triggered. I don't know what triggered me just now. I talked to him today on the phone. I was trying to get another appointment. And he called me back today. And I remember all of this, but I just got triggered again. He's like, "Kid, what was the last time I saw you?" I was like, "Yeah, it's about 18 years ago." He's like, "Oh, it's been some time." Yeah, bro. It's been some time. It's been some time.
Oh my God!
Dan,
oh God!
Daniel said.
I'm so sorry, y'all.
Daniel said that's pathetic. Absolutely, can't be falling asleep. Cannot be falling asleep. But if you do, you just own up to it.
Just like just say it is what it is. You know,
say it is what it is.
Yeah, and sometimes you actually will get more from telling the truth than what you might think. You know what I'm saying? Like you really will.
Absolutely.
Whew. So but yeah.
But get that therapy because you need it, and that's why
it's vitally important.
It's vitally important. That's why when I do weddings, I my only prerequisite. Only thing I require besides my fee, you know what I mean, and it's 2021, so the price is going up. Let me just put that out there. But besides my fee, is that you go to individual. You got to get individual counseling because you're gonna learn. You have to learn about yourself. If you're gonna attach yourself to somebody for the rest of your life.
Right, no, you're absolutely right. And can I tell you, Daniel said, "Be like my bad. Your life is boring."
Something. Say something.
So I would say that,
Yeah.
but say something.
Say my bad. You were rambling.
Say something. Like,
say,
come
so
on,
you
bro.
were rambling. You went on a tangent. Say something. Don't say you were resting your eyes. But no, I never seen it happen. I never seen anybody resting their eyes while they're awake. Never seen it.
Because it's not existent.
But I will say, it's not existent. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
Now,
just say it doesn't happen.
But listen, it does happen. Let me tell you when it does happen. Now, when you're married, you're in a relationship, and you're waiting to get some, right? Because it's gonna happen. You're gonna be married, waiting to get some.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the bed before she gets to the bed,
or
right?
vice versa,
or before he gets to the bed, right? And you close your eyes, but you still want some,
yes,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize that you've been resting your eyes too long, and you wake up.
Sir, could I hold you right there?
Go ahead.
You were not resting your eyes. You were asleep.
I wasn't asleep. I wasn't asleep.
You fell asleep even though you wanted some. And once you woke up, okay, you realized you missed your chance. It's that simple, okay?
You realize you almost missed your chance. Because there's always an ideal window, and then there's a not so ideal window. And you create that, whatever that not so ideal window is, you create that based on what time you realize that you're rushing your eyes too long.
You don't stop it. Now you're saying it's not a part of the vocabulary, sir.
That's right. Eyes be bloodshot when you weren't asleep. Like I wasn't asleep. I was waiting for you. Let's go. Let's go. Wake up. How you sleep? That's why I'm gonna stop waiting in bed. I'm gonna sit on the floor.
Walk around.
Nah, I'm gonna sit on the floor in front of the bed. I'm gonna just be pacing, like in front of the TV. Just
there you go. That's a solution. No, seriously, that's a solution. Or go downstairs, come back up, and now it's on and popping. You know what I'm saying?
What I did do at one point was I would jump on the elliptical before bed.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just because you gotta get the
blood flowing.
The blood flowing, because you don't want to overwork yourself when you start working yourself. You know what I mean?
What we're going to do is we're not going to...
Ain't nothing worse than having to stop because your heart beat too fast. I guess that's how you know like you're not the same age that you used to be when your heart's beating too fast. So you got to do a little warm up. You don't start playing basketball without your warm ups and your stretches and all that stuff. And the process can be even more strenuous than that. So you got to jump on the elliptical, do your little warm ups. You know what I mean? Do whatever it takes. Walking your paces. Do whatever it takes to keep from falling
asleep
into eye rest mode.
No. Stop. You're using that as if that's an actual vocabulary word. It's not. It's not existent.
If this licensed and certified psychologist can use it, then I can use it too. Punch a mellow in the shoe.
15 years ago, okay, bro? And it probably is. He realized how he messed up when he said it 18 years ago. Okay,
he ain't care. He was getting paid. He just filled up that slot with somebody else.
But first off, I want to say on his behalf that, I'm sure he apologizes.
He didn't apologize. Nigga told me he's resting his eyes. An apology would have been, oh, my bad.
Oh, because obviously it triggers you. We're still talking about it right now.
He woke up because he realized I wasn't talking anymore. Because I stopped. I was just like, all right, let me stop rapping. Homeboy sleep. I'm going to just stop talking. I'm going to see how long it takes. You know what I mean?
So how long did it take?
About 3 minutes.
Okay, wasn't long.
That's 3 minutes out of my 60 minutes. And 60 minutes
Did he give it back to you
flows by.
Did he give you an extra 3 minutes at the end?
No, he didn't give me extra 3 minutes because he didn't know he was asleep.
That long, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, right. I understand. So on that note, we're gonna wrap this up.
What up, Lady Jones?
Hey, what's going on, Ryan?
What up, Ryan?
But I will say I'm so excited about a new episode that's coming out, episode 3. And it's going to be some good conversation. But obviously, we're going to wrap it up for you tonight. If you guys have more comments that you want to leave, please add it onto our YouTube page at No Filters Podcast or our Spotify. If you don't have time to watch us, make sure you listen on Spotify. And then also we'll have our live taping that we just did today on our YouTube page, on our Spotify, and then also on our IG channel, on our IG page too. So make sure you check us out. Continue to keep the conversation going. I love this. This is great. We really enjoy conversing like this and getting your feedback. And I hope you guys enjoy this too.
Absolutely.
So remember, I'm your girl, India Glow Up on IG.
Yeah. Y'all know me, Father Drill. I mean, I'm gonna catch y'all in the street somewhere.
And to ask us any questions that you have, and also any comments that y'all want to leave about any additional episodes that you want to talk about, some topics that you want to hear about.
And if y'all have questions, y'all want to write us a letter like the strawberry letter.
Yeah,
we'll address them on the podcast, and then just shoot us a DM at No Filters Podcast, and or to each one of us individually. We're going to address those things. So thank you for joining us tonight. And in the future, like if you want to log on, just send a request to be a part of the live, and we'll bring you in, and we'll rap with you and answer your questions and get your insight and observations. All right.
Definitely.
So thank you once again for joining us, and we're going to say peace out.
Peace.
All right.